might say that I'm a loner, but I just call it being free. I am my heart's only owner, or at least I used to be.
Hey everyone, I'm Calvin with Southern Country Living.
And I'm Marie.
And today we want to try a new recipe for you. Marie found this last night on Pinterest and we both really liked how it looked. It's called a Texas Cowboy stew, and this recipe makes a very large pot. So what we're going to do, since it's just me and Marie, we're going to cut the recipe in half. That sound okay with you, Marie?
It does.
And so let me show you. We're going to start off. It's got 1 pound of ground beef. It's got 1 pound of smoked sausage, kielbasa sausage, whichever type of sausage you want to use will work fine. It uses 1 can of pinto beans, 1 can of diced tomatoes. On the corn, we're only going to use about half this can of corn. And then 1 can of rotel tomatoes. It's going to have an onion chopped up. It's going to have 2 potatoes diced up. It's going to have some minced garlic. And it calls for water, but instead of water, we're going to use beef broth. So I'll be using 2 cups of beef broth. It calls for mixed vegetables, the whole bag. So I'll only be using about half of these. And then on the spices, it uses 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoonful of chili powder, and I'm using about 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. So that's pretty much all the ingredients, isn't it, Marie?
Yeah.
Now, like I said, I will be listing this recipe in the description below, and the recipe you're going to see is going to be the full recipe. So if you got a big family, go ahead and make the full recipe. If you just 2 people like me and Marie, then make it half or however you want to do it. Okay, so to get started, I just turned my eye on, so it's probably not hot enough yet. Give it just another second. Anything you want to talk about, Marie, while we're waiting?
No, but I think I'll get over here and start on these potatoes.
Okay. Marie's going to dice those potatoes up for me. And as they actually, it calls for the potatoes to be diced. So that's sort of small chunks for us.
Okay, and I'll take these over here and wash the tops of the cans off.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put the onions in and get them started sauteing. And as soon as these onions start sauteing, I'm going to add the hamburger meat to it. Okay, the onions are starting to heat up now and starting to saute. So I'm going to add 1 pound of hamburger meat to my 1 chopped onion. We are using our Cuisinart electric stovetop burner, and so far we've been enjoying this. It's really pretty convenient, isn't it, Marie?
Yes, I really like it for the one-pot meals.
Now this recipe does not call for draining the extra grease out, so we're going to see how it looks after I get this brown. If it's got too much grease, I'll probably go ahead and drain some out anyway. Okay, this hamburger meat is about half finished. So while I'm waiting on it to finish up, I'll go ahead and get the sausage sliced up. And like I said, I'm using the Eckrich smoked sausage. And we like to get the ones that are skinless. To me, they just seem like they taste better and cook better. Okay, everyone, the ground beef is brown now, and there is some grease in there, but it's not very much. So I'm just going to leave that in there, and it probably just enhance the flavor of it. First thing I'm going to add is the sausage, and I did cut these a little thicker. These are almost a ½ inch thick. I think it recommended that so that the pieces would be bigger in the stew. So let me get these in. Okay. And then I'm going to add, this is 2 potatoes that Marie diced them up for me. So I'm going to add those 2 potatoes. Then I'm going to add 1 can of pinto beans. And these pinto beans, all these cans have been out on our shelf for a long time because we do prep and we try to use the oldest cans first. And I forgot to shake this one up before I opened it, so let's hope they all pour out easily. They came out pretty good. I'll take it. Okay, then on the tomatoes, 1 can of diced tomatoes. And then on the corn, I'm only going to use ½ of this can of corn. So I'll just see if I can estimate it pretty good right there in the middle. Maybe a little bit more. Looks like about a ½ can of corn. We'll save the rest of that for something else that we're going to be making. And these are the Rotel tomatoes. It is the Walmart generic brand, but we use these quite often and we like them. Okay, then I'm going to add some minced garlic to it. And since me and Marie love garlic, we'll just go ahead and put about 3 spoonsful in here. And it always calls for cloves of garlic, but to be honest with you, this is so much easier, and we just do the fast and easy way. We can open this up, put it in the refrigerator, we'll have it next time we need some, so it works good for us. Okay, on these mixed vegetables, I'm going to put about ½ of this bag in there. This pot's starting to get pretty full, Marie.
Yeah, and that's just ½ of the recipe.
Yeah, this is just ½ of the recipe. We'd have to use our real big pot if we cooked all of this. Okay, so we'll also save these because those 2 items can be reused on our next soup. We'll just freeze them before we use them, okay, Marie? Okay, now I'm going to add 2 cups of beef broth. Let me get this stirred up just a little, and after I get stirred up, I'll add the spices to it. This pot worked out just perfect, didn't it, Marie?
Yeah, I've been really enjoying my Rachel Ray cookware from one of our subscribers.
Yeah. Now this is a stew, so it's not going to be real juicy when it's done. It's supposed to be thicker. And you could, if you wanted to, you could add more beef broth to it and make it more soupier, like a soup. But I think Marie and I are going to enjoy it just like this. We are going to make some cornbread, some good homemade cornbread to go with this. And so just as soon as this starts cooking, we'll start the cornbread. Okay, that's looking good. Let me add my spices. And I'm just going to put all these in at one time. And then I'll give them a good stir.
That stew is really colorful and it looks like it's going to be really good.
It does. It looks great. I'm glad you found this recipe, Marie.
I thought you might like to make that one.
Okay, I think I've got it stirred up pretty good there. And so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cover it with the lid and I'll let it come up to a boil. and once it comes to a boil, I'll reduce the heat on it and just let it simmer. It says to let it simmer for 1 hour, but I don't think, to me it don't seem like it'll take an hour to be done, but we'll check it real close because once the potatoes get soft, everything else should be done, shouldn't it, Marie?
Yeah, the kielbasa may take just a little bit.
Longer.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, we're gonna let this start cooking. While this is cooking, like I said, we're gonna make some homemade cornbread, and we'll be back with you soon. Okay, the stew is starting to heat up, but it still ain't came to a boil yet. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the cornbread. And this is our favorite iron skillet to use for cornbread. We keep it seasoned all the time. But right before I cook the cornbread, I like to take butter and just butter the bottom of the skillet real good. And it don't matter how much you put on there, just rub it on and get you a real good coat of butter on there. You can use Crisco, either one of them works just fine. And I'll put some around the edges a little bit. Okay, you can see I got butter all over my fingers there. Okay, so now we're going to start mixing up the cornmeal. And when we make biscuits, we always use white lily flour, but for cornmeal, we prefer using Martha White cornmeal. So I'm going to get about 2 cups of cornmeal. And then I'm going to add to it about 1.5 cups of milk. And you can put buttermilk in it, but I don't have buttermilk, so I just use regular milk here. And it'll work just fine. Okay. And then I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. And I'm going to add 1 egg to it. And personally, I prefer just taking a fork and stirring it up. Everybody does it differently. That's up to you. While I'm mixing this up, I do have the oven preheating because you do want to put your skillet into a hot oven. Okay, that looks just about perfect right there. You don't want it to be too thick and you don't want it to be too runny. Okay, and I'll just pour this into my skillet. Okay, and I'm going to put this in the oven, and it's going to cook anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes. On our oven, it seems like 23 minutes seems to work best for us every time. But we will keep an eye on it because we don't want to get too dark on top. Okay, so looks like our stew has just come to a boil, so I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit. It was on 5 and I'm gonna go down to about 3 and set my timer over here for about an hour. And like I said, I'll keep a good close eye on that cornbread, and we'll be back with you in a few minutes. Okay, the cornbread should be done. It's been 23 minutes. Looks good. Let me sit there for a second. Ooh, that oven sure is hot.
You got that smelling good in here, Calvin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, look at the soup over here, Marie. Step over here and look at it. Look how good the soup is looking. Now, it's only been cooking for 23 minutes. And to me, it looks like it's just about done, but we're gonna let it cook just a little longer. And that sausage really makes it smell good. But there's my cornbread. See if I can hold it up where you can see it without me dropping it. Put it on this camera over here. Okay, there's my cornbread. I'll let it cool for a few minutes before we turn it out into a plate. So we'll be back with you in a few more minutes. Okay, everyone, the cornbread is finished. I didn't show you this, but after I do take it out of the oven, I use butter and rub on top of the cornbread, a real good thick coat of butter. All that extra butter just makes your cornbread taste good, don't it, Marie?
It sure does.
And I did go ahead and cook the stew for 55 minutes. And it is really smelling good. I did take the lid off. I left it on for a few minutes till it got hot, and then I took it off. But just look how good that looks.
It certainly smells good.
It's really got the house smelling good, don't it, Marie?
Yeah.
Okay, Marie, I'm gonna fix you a bowl first. Marie, I forgot to get you something to taste it with. I'm getting slack. You're gonna have to teach me how to do it, girl. That looks good right there, don't it, Marie?
Yeah, it's steaming, that's for sure.
Yeah, let me get my bowl out. We'll let it cool for just a couple of minutes before we do taste test. And get me a good bowl. I think I'm gonna get 3 scoops also, Marie. Same amount you got.
I've really enjoyed my dishes that Johanna has sent us.
Yeah, we're using them today, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay, that looks real good right there. I'm gonna take a couple of pictures and then we'll do the taste test. Okay, y'all, we're back. We had to take just a couple of minutes here and let this cool down because it was so hot that I could not even stand to eat it. Could you, Marie? But we're gonna try another taste test on it now and see how we like it. And hopefully we won't burn ourselves this time. Mmm. It's amazing how much better your food tastes when it's not scalding hot.
It's really delicious, Calvin.
This has got some good flavors in it. I love the flavor that the sausage puts in it.
I know it. It's just really, really flavorful.
I'm gonna take mine and I am gonna crumble up a little bit of my cornbread to put in, Marie, because I love cornbread in mine. But it really looks good over here. And I would say we got enough. This made 1 meal here. We got another full meal there and probably half of a meal after that. So it makes a pretty good bit.
And we didn't double it like the...
No, we just did the half of a recipe. Well, I think Maria and I are going to both enjoy this. We appreciate y'all watching us make this Texas Cowboy stew.
Yeah, and it was delicious.
Yeah, and we also made some cornbread. We hadn't did cornbread on video in a while. Marie likes to make her Mexican cornbread mostly. And so I want to do just a regular cornbread for this one. But we're going to enjoy it. Hope y'all enjoyed watching the video. If you try this, leave a comment. Let us know how you liked it, okay? Everyone have a great day, and we'll see y'all on the next video.
And y'all do what you love and love what you do. And like Kevin said, we'll see you on the next video, and bye.
We were young and we were free and running, never bothered about what could be coming. Every day we danced and life was smiling. We were young and drunk in love. A few years later I have started thinking, if it's just love in every glass I'm drinking, we're like one and without you I'm sinking. I'm always shining next to you. Oh, I got you, there's no reason to chasing pavement on my own, 'cause you're here.